Ayo, it's 48 Sharks again and again. So, basically, I just want to put this video because, I don't know, I'm not like, I'm going for a psychology degree, but you can never self diagnose. You know, you can't go on MD Live. You can't just, you can get a degree, but again, you can't self diagnose because you got that perspective and just too many factors going on. However, through therapy for the last year, I feel like I've made a breakthrough, and I just kind of want to share it. And you know, again, if this video reaches anybody and if it makes sense to anybody, then perfect. Then that was the point of the video. If not, then it doesn't matter. The video will just be there, and fuck it. So I've literally been struggling with a whole bunch of shit since I was like 14 years old. Long story, many videos to come about this because we're going there with the mental health aspect. We're making the playlist. The playlist is being filled up. No fucking cap. It's gonna be full. But yeah. So when I was like, my first job was when I was 18, and I worked at Taco Bell, and that pretty much was full time. It wasn't really, because back then, you know, they were still like, they didn't want to give you the benefits. Like, if they could keep you, like, if they could fucking edge you right there, like, no. If they could edge you, they will keep you at like 36 hours, 37. That way you don't get too close and pull off the fucking full time. So, you know, I did that, and I think I did that for like 3 months, and then I had to quit. It was just too much. Too fucking much. And later on, I ended up getting a job at CVS. Actually, before that, I worked in a war memorabilia store every Saturday, and I only did that for a few weeks. So then came Taco Bell, like a few years later, because I did that one when I was like 16. Then, yeah, Taco Bell at 18. Then I think like 19 was CVS. Man, there's so many things I tried. And I had never had a full-time job until 2016 when I worked at this sales job that was like 16 or 20 little small cubicles in a small office. So it was kind of like you're almost forced to be a family there because all you're doing is just dialing numbers and having phone calls, and so you eventually get really close to everybody there because you're so close. And I made so much fucking money there. And of course, like, you know, it wasn't, I mean, I'm not going to say it was one of those rackets, but rackets existed back then like that. And one week I got $1,300, man. And that was just straight commission, mostly because I had gotten to the point where I became a closer. And I wouldn't even say that place was a job. I mean, they always told you you can work as much as you want. You can work as little as you want. If you come in and make like 5 deals and you want to leave and you've only been there an hour, fuck it. It's your time. You're here. You're our employee. We trust you're going to fucking bring in money. Do it. And I maintained more than a full-time job. Nah, I'm not even going to say that, man, because I didn't. I mean, because there was some weeks where I called out a lot. There were some weeks where I didn't even work that week. Again, because of the leniency. So, I mean, I still did struggle with that. But, I mean, that job was the easiest that I could extend my time. Because, again, it was optional. So, you know, 9 months later, I ended up quitting because, again, it's just too much at that point. Then I work at, like, Publix, Dollar General, back at Publix. Then I try out Walmart, back at Publix. I try out Walmart Neighborhood Market, back at Publix. My bad. Then I tried Dollar General. And, you know, I started trying to create some of my own businesses in between. And those failed because COVID, unfortunately. And all the jobs, I could never hold a full-time job throughout my entire life, and now I'm 30. And so it's really wild to go through life, and just because your anxiety and your panic is so fucking hard and so intense, like, yeah, you can go into work, you can survive for the fucking next few hours, right? And then cool, you get to go home. But then the next day you're gonna have to survive again. Like, life isn't about surviving, it's about living life and having that experience. When I was at the sales job, I wouldn't consider that a job, I would consider that an experience. I mean, there was so much socialization and leniency and no pressure, no obligation, no forced clocked in hours, and then everything else is. So recently, talking to some of my friends, I came to the idea, and I would say this is like an epiphany, that maybe the reason, and a lot of how I came to this conclusion, I must give credit to therapy, because the last year I've been in therapy, I was a totally different person a year ago. And you can go a year ago back in my videos, I still was spouting positivity, but I wasn't who I am. I was that person spouting positivity, but now I'm myself as is. So throughout that entire evolution and learning the tools and the skills and having the skill sets that I have now, evaluating my life, having that self-awareness, that emotional intelligence, just truly being able to understand that, that's your perspective, there are outside perspectives, just again, everything, the whole smorgasbord of it all. I realized maybe my anxiety and not being able to work full-time comes and stems from being in a place where I am essentially forced to be there for an extended period of time without leaving. Now, I began with that, and I felt like that was a really concrete thought, but to substantiate it, and there has to be multiple examples. So I ended up crossing that over relatively to going to my sister's house. So my dad and I, we only have one vehicle. So when we go to my sister's house, obviously he's going to be the one that wants to drive. I'm not going to leave and like let him find a ride home or something. But going there together and having him be the driver. So now I'm forced to be, again, waiting on somebody else's time and their timer and their perspective. Whether I wanted to stay for 1 hour or 8, even though I'm at my sister's, I mean, there's been times where there's been a pool party, and I've kind of looked at my dad, and I'm like, yeah, we need to go. Like, I'm starting to freak the fuck out. And it's so humiliating and embarrassing because you feel it, but it's verified. It's validated. It actually is a thing. Like, we really do struggle with that shit. And the correlation between work and hanging out at my sister's, a theme park, a club, a social venue, whatever no matter, it doesn't matter how fun it is. It matters, again, the correlation. What matters is, can I leave whenever I want? Do I have access to escape? Do I have an eject button? Can I get the fuck out when I want? And if I don't, that's the fucker. That is the fucker. And so maybe consider that. Maybe if this is what you're feeling, let me know what kind of jobs you think that are there. Put it down in the comments, genuinely. Let's fucking start a conversation, man, of what jobs, how can we change this for ourselves? What changes can we make to not feel so prone and affected when we're forced to be somewhere? How do we lighten that scenario up? What perspective or epiphany do we gain? What steps? How do we grow? Put it down in the comments and let's see where we go, man. I hope that made sense. So if you haven't hit subscribe, please hit subscribe. And like, again, like, comment, share.
Subscribe.